need rights, not mercy. That's the clarion call of Hindraf. Okay, so we have to bear that in our mind. It is in this context that we must plan our strategies for the years ahead, especially next year when the election is just around the corner. Without much ado, this is a forum. We have arranged some speakers to come and give talk here to us. So without much ado, let me invite the first speaker. He is Mr. Thiruvengadam, a social activist. He is highly educated, an MBA graduate. He is a prolific writer as well. He writes every week on Sundays in Malaysia Nanban. He touches on education here. Okay, he wants to explain to us about how we are exploited in the educational aspect. Welcome, sir.
My article touches on political aspects, education, and social aspects. And the main objective of the article is to highlight to the Indian community. Of course, it is in Tamil. For some of the readers in Malaysia are unable to read Tamil. That is quite sad. My contribution is in Tamil, so it comes out in Tamil. I don't have any English translation yet. Okay, today I was told to touch something on education because last 6 months my articles are all covering on education. And I was also told that I should touch more, some education aspects more towards the Indian displacement, our community displacement when the estates were taken off. But when I was told the time was too short, I will try to touch something on the estates and our community displacement. Otherwise, some general aspects of education where you will start realizing we are actually being cheated, very much cheated on the education aspect. So I am given only around 15 minutes. I need to go fast. Okay, the first, this particular chart you can is for you to realize something on it. Okay, this kind of chart you can see how the UMNO companies, how it allows Malays to make up companies and use students, especially the Indian students, to make money for them. Alright? Those who didn't get placed in IPTA. IPTA means Institute Pengajian Tinggi Awam, government universities. Okay, government universities, government colleges. Government universities they call, and they are telling us that there are 20 public universities. Those who didn't get placed, the Indian students mostly they receive a card like this. And you can see how badly, the education companies, the Malay companies, or I can call it as UMNO companies, they are misusing. They are misusing the Jom Maso You. Jom Maso You is a platform by the Higher Education Ministry to go around the whole country and brief the students. Okay, they will be having around 3-4 months. They are using that particular logo. They are using all government logos, federal government logo, UPM, USM logo, UITM logo, FELDA logo, JPA logo, all the logos are being used. And students are told to come to all these places for briefing. And one of the places you can see, Dewan Tatu UMNO Bagian Ampang. UMNO building is being used for the briefing. And my question, what happened to our students? They are called and they are placed in the colleges which are owned by Malays. And those who are with 3 point above CGPA, they won't get a place in IPTA. Malays, even below 2 point something, 2.3, they will be given places. Okay, the next. Okay, This is regarding one association formed by Ganapati Das, okay, known as One MISN, One Malaysia Indian Student Movement. It was formed last year. Okay, it was launched by our Prime Minister. Okay, when the One MISN, One Student Indian Movement, was launched by Prime Minister, Ganapati Das, okay, an MIC youth person, youth chief, okay, youth leader who is in charge of higher education, was there. He listed some 5-6 demands, okay, from the government. And in the meeting, higher education minister was there. He said, my doors are always open. Very sorry, the paper cuttings are all mostly in Tamil. Okay, the minister said, my doors are always open. You people can come and talk to us for any Indian issues, education issues. The next. So, you see the title, 20 years Indian student issues was solved within 20 minutes by the Prime Minister. 20 years Indian student issues were solved within 20 minutes by the Prime Minister. The paper cutting news says. Okay, the next. And in this particular function, Prime Minister promised, and he was asked, Prime Minister promised that buses will be provided for the Indian university students to go to university. Friday, okay, of course, Friday they will be getting vegetarian food, and they will be given enough places in the university. They will be given enough places to do masters and PhD. So there were several promises like that. Next, and you can see Ganapati Das sitting beside Prime Minister. Okay, next. And now, what is this person doing, Ganapati Das? All the demands didn't work out. After almost 2 years, going to be 2 years by next year, nothing worked out. And the university intake, the percentage is declining. So I wrote few times, okay, commenting on this matter. He called me once. I asked him what happened to the vegetarian food supposed to be given to the Indians. He said government is giving tender out for vegetarian food. Okay, nothing worked. And now he is misusing the university students, using the one MISN, getting the government fund, and he is doing something else, so many other unwanted things in the university. Next. And he is organizing essay competition. The next. And now, after almost 2 years, he realizes the words uttered by Prime Minister never work out on the university intake. Now he says that this year July, 31st July paper, Indian students should be given places by quota system. So what happened to the promise given last year by the Prime Minister? Didn't work out. And he himself,
we will give up some of our freedoms. Right? So this arrangement is what we have in this thing that we call the state. Yeah. So that's okay. All right. The social contract, let me just read it, right, is that the state will take on responsibilities that cater for the common good of society, for which the people give up some of their individual freedoms. The responsibility of the state generally is to maintain law and order, provide security, and administer the resources of the nation for general good. And people, for our part, all of us, we submit to the rules and laws of the state. Okay? Now, the underlying significant assumption is the state will act in the interest of all of us. All of us, regardless. Right? This is the key assumption.
The total population of Indian is a percentage, 11%, 11.26. You must mind. But the majority Indians in Malaysia, Malaya, are living say like a Selangor, Perak, Penang, and Negeri Sembilan, Johor, and Kedah. So there is a very clearly stated, these all plantations. The states all have a major plantation. Okay, after independence, I think Mr. Ganesan already touched that. After independence, the British company, they want to sell their land, and then that is happened. It's a chance for the local rich people buy the land and making a fragmentation. Put it a fragmentation. So that is one aspect affected my area. I must say in Java slang, besides the whole monastery. Totally suffer there. Maybe I look in what the way they fragmented 5 acres, 10 acres, 12 acres fragmented. So that is happened. The major estate workers are affected, mostly in Kedah side and Penang side. You can see the Libong Tebal area. All that area you can look, the fragmented estate still not covered. It's not anything happened for them. They leaving that level. I went to survey for the area last year. Okay, in that time, there's no law protection for them. Here you must think, why is the law not protection them? Because it's a system like that. Because Malaysia, the economy, Malaya, the economy is controlled foreigners and local. Local means you know the Chinese, and foreign is outside. In others, no. So the government not very encouraged stop that one. So that is very clearly stated. So that the first affected fragmentation, and follow that. What happened is follow that. Okay, after that, how the Indian effect again. May 13. You know the riots after the general election to that majority lost, so they can make a fight. So problems coming. So what latest Abdul Razak is a National Operation Council director, come say that okay, and who no citizen, no job. No citizen, no job, he said. So the majority plantation estate workers are red eyes. They don't have a citizenship. Again they are affected. Again they are affected. And then they continually work permit. You all must understand, it's my book, I will clearly state what's happened. Red eyes see. So they have a connection. And that time, can't do the political MIC cannot do anything for them. And then, in my mind, is it official figure or unofficial figure? There's 185,000 or 85,000 people working plantations returned to India, their own country, because they did the taxation there. In that time, they have a permit, say that 6 months work, 12 months work, you must renew with the labor office. And Mapa says, you do like that, how to be running their plantation? We are dependent Indian workers. The major crop given by the government, is a rubber, the tax. Now you say, okay, work permit and rent is involved. How will we get the workers? The majority workers in plantation. And they want him, if you do like that, we close the estates. And government that time will be shaking. See their mind before not thinking that. And they stop. They say, okay, they control the work permit, and then they stop, slowly send the workers to them. Okay. This is quite interesting thing. That is also Indian affected. Okay, 1970. Now I talk about plantation. New economic policy, புதிய பொருளாதார கொள்கை, introduced after the riots. They said, okay, our country, we don't want any poverty, we must equal. Economy also must equal. We cannot see the races. Where? But the category, who is the poverty? Who is the people of poverty? The category 9 groups. Paddy farmers, coconut, the Chinese new villages, and all the category. But they inside the state plantation workers. You already understand what the Ganesan mentioned, third Malaysia plan. You already mentioned the poverty major group of plantation workers. They already stated clearly, government. But after implemented 20 years implementation, the estate was neglected. They didn't go for that area also. Any project, no project. And I asked him, one of the government official, is Kemajuan Masyarakat, I get a debate. I say, you here the main road here the estate, here the kampung. You start here, lot of problem. Kemas got, Tadika got, Tabika got, all the activities. Why you are cannot got area? It's only main road only. They say the private property. Plantation, you have private property. It's a big argument. I finally say, I giving you tell the government, next time go for vote for the plantation. We're asking. It's a shame you are saying. If you're asking a plantation for vote, it's a shame. Because you are private property, but they are a citizen. They're a citizen. They have all the right to benefit. That's the only main road. See the government. 20 years. Nothing happened. Actually, this is very important, you know. What whether Let's look, these are not cheating ones. This is not something. This is a pro document. Say that baseball. It's like only one state. I not go for the state. I did a case study. I think I made this one. I went 5 times for take a ring. Sure. I'm very upset today. We look everywhere state. Everywhere plantation. I don't know somewhere I left. All estate. So here my loving friend Alfred Bond, Central Estate. Here I found Java Slang Estate. Here Captain Bala Shanti, Bukit Jadi. Clap them. Clap them. Okay, here the red color here, Putrajaya. This is, they say Ladang. Ladang Bukit Kolo, Ladang Bukit Ceraka, Ladang Jawat Slang.
To come and, I don't know what he's going to share with us. Okay. I just would like to give him the podium. Okay. Welcome, Dr. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and there were certainly 3 very hard acts to follow. First thing I want to do is to thank you people at Hindraf, in particular Mr. Wedemorty, for the invitation to come and visit. I'm not just here for this meeting, I'm here for a whole week to learn much more about the situation that the Indian estate workers are in, and how I, as an outsider, can perhaps contribute to moving your cause forward. What I should say is that I am not an activist in that sense of the word. I'm a Brit, which often gets me into trouble at meetings like this. And I spent most of my life in the university structure in the UK, and I now work as a freelancer helping Tamils from Sri Lanka claim asylum in the UK. And you'll be fully aware of what's been happening over in Sri Lanka. I'm on my way there, in fact. I'll be there next Tuesday. And most of my work now is as an independent analyst, helping asylum seekers mainly from the north, but also from the east. So my role in terms of knowledge of Malaysia is limited. My expertise is much more in South Asia, India, Pakistan, and increasingly Sri Lanka. What I hope I can bring to your cause is some expertise on how you might address international conditions. I mean, it's become very clear from what's been said earlier that the international community has largely ignored what's happening to Indian estate workers, to displacement in Malaysia. There are reasons for that. Both the fault is on both sides, on the part of the international community and on the part of the Malaysian state, it seems. But what I would like to do is to give you a perspective on why I think that the international community has not really paid due attention to the situation that you people are in. First thing I want to say is that if you look across the world, not just into Asia or South Asia or Southeast Asia, across the world, for example, now in the Middle East and North Africa, the problem of displacement is very, very common. Wars, natural disasters, all are responsible for ensuring that people are forced from their homes, from their communities, and sometimes even from their countries. It's always been the case. We may one day find that there is no war in the world, but surely there will be. Surely there will be natural disasters, and displacement will always be a fact of life within countries and outside of countries as well. The international community, especially the United Nations, is aware of its obligations. It does have obligations to displaced people. But if you look around, judging by the amount of human suffering across the world, the UN doesn't always do its job. Sometimes this is the fault of the UN, and I've seen some major mistakes made by the United Nations in trying to help people, and very often failing. But it's very often the fault of others as well. Sometimes the United Nations is simply powerless to act for particularly the displaced people within countries. Having said that, it's failure that tends to make the news. Failure tends to make the news internationally and also at home. We only tend to see the mistakes and very often not the success. The international community does save people, particularly refugees. Not just the United Nations, but many other bodies as well. Every year, there is a range of assistance given, whether it's basic humanitarian assistance or protection to political asylum seekers in other countries. And there may be people amongst you who have experienced that. There is certainly, my job, I know that Britain gives protection to thousands and thousands of Tamil, Sri Lankan Tamils, not every year, but over the years. So it does work sometimes. Not all the time, but it does work. There are means by which protection can be given, both within the United Nations system and outside the UN system. It doesn't always work perfectly, but it can work. One of the problems I think that we're facing today